Hello, everybody. This is Freeze,
Good evening. My name's Derek.
and this is RCMG TV Sports Talk. So, what do you got to say about the game tonight, Derek?
Freeze. Words can't explain what I witnessed tonight. I actually witnessed the Detroit Pistons, my favorite team in the NBA, become the most humiliated team in the league. The Pistons are currently 3-17. They have only won 3 games, lost 17. Pistons had a chance to finally break their 10-game losing streak to the team that had a worse record than them. But unfortunately, the Philadelphia 76ers pulled the game out, won a second game in a row, and now the Pistons have lost 11 games in a row. What do you think about that, Freeze?
I mean, at this point, I'm just frustrated. I don't. It's hard to even put it into words, man. I can't blame a player. I can't blame a coach, man. This is a horrible team, man. And changes have to be made. That's the main thing I can say. Some changes have to be made. Something has to happen.
Absolutely, and always, I'm proud of all our Detroit franchises. Tonight I was watching the Red Wings. They were actually losing 2-0 to the New York Rangers, and they scored 3 unanswered goals to win that game. And now the Red Wings look just as good as they have in the past with all of the success they had in the last decade. And even tomorrow, the Detroit Lions play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're 8-4. They got a chance to be 9-4 and start getting closer to securing a playoff berth. And then, the Detroit Tigers, we just witnessed them going into the playoffs and playing excellent, trying to move, down to winning the championship for us. But our Detroit Pistons, look at them right now. They are the worst franchise in the Detroit area. It's really just becoming amazing how bad we are now.
It's getting to the point, man. We're gonna need to start talking about the Red Wings. What they 16, 6 ties, 5 losses, man. I'd rather talk about them than these Pistons, man, because the Pistons are stinking it up, man. I Jennings left. No, I've been the biggest supporter of Jennings. When everybody don't like the dude, I try to give him a chance, man. But I might hop off the Jennings bandwagon because he was horrible tonight, man. And some of the decision making, Smith's made some boneheaded plays down the stretch. The coach made the biggest boneheaded plays by waiting so long to bring people back in the game. That's one reason why we were up 9 at a certain point. When players get a certain rhythm, you know what I'm saying, you don't bring somebody else in the game where they have to get together their rhythm. It's just he doesn't understand the substitution patterns and the flow of a game, obviously.
Yes, I agree with you, Freeze. One thing I noticed with the Pistons tonight, they really, as a team, they look so disjointed now. They don't seem to even have confidence in themselves now. In that fourth quarter, there were so many missed shots, so many opportunities for them to make easy baskets, and just one after another, they either got blocked, they either missed a shot, or just totally just could not get anything to score. Even when Pope and Smith had a chance to go to the free throw line to make some critical baskets, they basically only made one. Now it's just becoming now apparently that this team cannot continue to stay with the same starting 5 lineup. They're going to have to really figure out a new team, a new way of just putting together a roster, a whole new way of just coming up with the bench to come in to try to help the starters. So I'm just saying we're going to have to really unravel this team, break this team into pieces and put it all back together, because currently the way it is right now, it's just not going to work.
I definitely agree with you. And I think the first thing that needs to be done is get Kyle. Kyle Singer actually had a big game tonight. You know what I'm saying? I can't even. He had 21 points.
Right, that's correct.
But you see down the stretch when it's time to win a game. You know what I'm saying? He got a shot blocked. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have any plays in crunch time, and the player he was actually guarding, I think his name is Covington. Uh,
He scored.
no, Thomas.
Yeah,
Thomas
Covington.
came. No, it was Thomas who scored that 3 on him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Hollis Thomas to tie the game at the end of regulation, and the really thing, Pistons had a chance to won the game in regulations, and Jennings just dribbled the ball out and then got a shot blocked. I said make a pass. You could have easily swung the ball where you had Pope or Singler who could have hit a shot. You know what I'm saying? Or at least took a shot and that got blocked. You know what I'm saying? So I
Well,
don't
yeah,
know.
that's the second time this season I've witnessed Brandon Jennings taking the last shot to win a game before overtime, and both times he came up empty. Now, Brandon Jennings, he's a good player, but I really have to be honest. I do not trust that guy taking the last shot in crunch time. I prefer to put the balls in the hand of somebody who has a little bit more ability to score in different ways, like Pope, for example. I would feel more comfortable with Pope maybe having ability to drive to the basket, to draw a foul, somebody who can at least explode, have a little size to them. But Jennings, with him not being that tall, I just feel like if he always end up taking some type of awkward little floater or finger roll. He don't never take a real solid shot when it's the last shot to put the game away. So I think Van Gundy is really going to have to really think seriously about who can be the go-to man.
I definitely agree with you, and you know I'm a big KCP fan, but I gotta say the one thing about his game that I'm kind of worried about is when he does drive 9 times out of 10, he gets called for a charge. So it's in crunch time. I would be worried about even him. I'd rather him just shoot the ball, man, because he'd try to drive to the lane and get a charge called on him. But that's the main thing that this team is missing. We're missing the go-to guy, that guy you can count on in crunch time to get you points. And the Pistons don't have that right now. In the past, we can rely on a Stuckey or even a Bynum to get us to the line and get us some plays down in crunch time. But now I don't think we have that player. And hopefully maybe we get mixed back in a couple weeks and maybe he's the guy. But only
That's
time will
right.
tell.
Oh, yes, that's right, Freeze. But to me, when I really try to dissect this team, the Detroit Pistons, the thing that really amazed me is that all over the NBA, they considered us as the worst NBA team now since we just lost to the Philadelphia Sixers. And keep in mind, we lost to the 76ers at home at the Palace. Now, my thought now is if you can't beat the worst team in the NBA at home, who else in the NBA will you be able to beat? That is really a scary proposition right now for the Pistons. They are looking tomorrow to face the Oklahoma, and they got Kevin Durant, Westbrook back in the lineup. And you know they're going to be looking for revenge after the Pistons beat them at home. So it's almost probably I could go out and guarantee now that the Pistons are going to lose. They're tired from this overtime game tonight, so I don't see how in the world they're going to be able to beat Oklahoma tomorrow. But just even after that, who in the NBA will we be able to beat? Who do you think, Freeze?
I have no clue right now. Just looking at the schedule, it's I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. And one thing about Oklahoma, it's going to be almost impossible for us to beat that team tomorrow night. And I don't know, man. I really would like to see them put Gigi the Tome in the lineup and let this guy get some time out there. I really would like to see that. But I know this Stan Van Gundy is a stubborn coach, man. And like I say, he's got the insanity bug, just doing the same thing over and over again. Think go see something different. It's not gonna happen, man. And until he makes some changes, using his power as a GM, I just think this team is gonna be the worst team in the league this season.
Yes, Freeze. Now, tonight I listened to Van Gundy post-game remarks and statements, and he basically not only blasted the team, he blasted himself. He's actually first time ever heard him take responsibility like this. He said, "I should have called a timeout when I seen the Pistons was struggling to get the ball in plays that I was calling during the timeout. I should have called a timeout to make sure that Jennings had opportunity to work on a different play so we would not be able to not execute what we were trying to do." So Stan Van Gundy, right now, he's starting to really say some incredible things. Earlier this week, he said his team was a mess. He said we were just a complete mess. I don't know really how we're going to fix it. I'm not sure what to do, but right now we are not playing as a cohesive unit. So I'm starting to hear things and statements and comments from Stan Van Gundy that really concerns me now. He is really starting to feel the pressure now. He is not 100% sure which way to go. I hear you talking about GG, which I think anybody at this point, if you got anybody on the bench with a pulse, put them out in the game, especially if they haven't been playing, because obviously right now, these players that's out there right now are not getting the job done. And I think we're going to have to find out who can get this job done, Freeze, because right now I'm just totally disappointed. I'm just stunned that this team couldn't beat the 76ers tonight. So I'm just hoping that Stan Van Gundy wake up, figure something out quickly, and hopefully we could start becoming a decent team again.
I definitely agree with you, and I'm a huge basketball fan, and it's starting to weigh on me. I'm kind of sad watching this team. It's almost like I don't want to watch this team, man. It's better things I can do with my time, man. If they don't put a better product on the floor, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna want to watch. Let alone you trying to get people into the Palace to pay money to see this crap. It's not gonna happen, man. And not only is this team just not performing well, they're also pretty boring. You know what I'm saying? It's even last year we were bad, but at least some exciting plays happened. Drummond was playing good. We had the alley-oop play. It's just no excitement, and you can really tell. We have a hard time beating a team like Philadelphia because we have no enthusiasm in the Palace. The crowd's not into the game. It's you can hear a pin drop in there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
If
yes.
anybody says anything in the crowd, you can hear them loud and clear. So and it ain't just us fed up, man. I think it's a lot of the fans and the Detroit sports community is pretty fed up with this team right now.
Man, Freeze, I'm telling you, man, I'm just really wondering now, what can they do now? It's true enough, we got Meeks that should be back this month in December, but this one man, what I mean, I understand that he's a good 3-point shooter. He can help us maybe get average maybe 15 points a game, but still there are other issues with this team. Our point guard play has been really bad in the last. Well, it's been bad all season because we still only won 3 games. I mean, you figure by the time you finally get to your 20th game of the season, you'll at least be at the 500 mark. I mean, I was up here watching the Red Wings tonight, and the head coach of the Red Wings won his 500 game this year. And so it just tells you that, what I mean, Stan Van Gundy only won 3 games. What I mean? It's like, what I mean, where do we go with this team? Is Stan Van Gundy, is he going to just melt away, or will he? Because I was thinking to myself that Stan Van Gundy is the president of operations, and also he's the head coach. Is he going to eventually fire himself as the head coach? And then what is Gore going to do? Is he going to fire him as the general manager? And then pretty soon people are going to be out for Gore's head. They're going to tell Gore maybe to sell the team.
You know how I feel about that situation, man. Goris and what is it, Platinum Equities or whatever, whoever owns the Pistons, I don't think they have a clue about basketball, man. Because I think they do a pretty good job as far as getting us a nice scoreboard and upgrading the Palace. That's cool, man. But that ain't gonna put butts in these seats, man. They got to do a better job, man. And I'm the point guard play. Let's just go down the line. The point guard play. Disappointing to Jennings. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Jennings, man. But tonight, I understand he's coming back. He had that thumb injury on his shooting hand, but tonight it was just bonehead plays and turnovers. I'm not agreeing with. I'm not a fan of DJ Augustine at all. I'd rather see Dinwiddie get them back up minutes. 2-guard KCP, he played okay. I think when KCP finally woke up in the third quarter, then the coach sat him to the 2-minute mark in the fourth quarter. What do you expect somebody to do? And then we go to overtime and he missed those 2 shots because he ain't in no type of rhythm. This coach, back in the day, man, 89, 90, you had the microwave, and the microwave was hot, man. You gave him the ball every time down the court, and you didn't take him out the game when he got hot. That's just idiotic. You know what I'm saying? This coach doesn't have a good IQ of when to ride players and substitute players and who's playing good. He'll leave a player out there. Some games Singler had a good game tonight. Some games Singler be out there just running around not doing nothing, getting scored on, but he'll play 40 minutes. And his coach doesn't recognize, situational basketball. And he just needs to do a better job of recognizing what he needs to do to get some more life out of this team.
But Freeze, I thought that was the main reason why Tom Gores hired Stan Van Gundy for his experience in the NBA, from coaching Orlando and just being a head coach that made it to the playoffs every time he coached each team. Why is he not? He's underachieving coaching the Pistons. Why is he not able to get this team off the map? Why are they looking so bad as a unit? You mentioned about the guards, and you mentioned about the different players on here, but look at the big man. Stan Van Gundy tonight on the radio said my go-to men are my big men is Moreau and Drummond. Now Drummond wasn't even in the game in crunch time, and Moreau basically when he had an opportunity to make a critical shot, he got blocked from behind. So it was like he was out there in no man's land tonight. So it's apparently the Pistons are just really going through a bad time right now. Now, can it be fixed? Well, yeah, I think it can be fixed. But like you said, Stan Van Gundy is going to have to start recognizing his downfalls. Like you mentioned earlier, Stan Van Gundy is going to have to realize that he's going to have to start substituting a little bit better. I understand early in the game he substitutes Moreau for Drummond, and that's pretty much it, what he does. Then he waits to the second quarter, and he brings in Augustine, then he brings in Cartier, and he brings in Butler. But he needs to make more changes earlier in the first quarter. He needs to substitute as many players as he can. He needs to probably utilize the entire Pistons roster. He needs to start trying to coach this team like a college team by using all your players.
I definitely agree with that, and it's really, I don't think he has an idea about situational basketball or how to see if somebody is hot off the bench. If you got a minute or two left in the quarter, instead of going right to Cartier, why don't you put in Gigi to see what he can do for a couple minutes? If he got his stroke going, he had a couple baskets, let him play. If
Absolutely.
not, then you go with a Cartier. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't try something different, you're not going to get any different results. And that's the thing that's so frustrating, man. It's driving me crazy. For every night, he does the same thing, man. The same thing. And you look at the Pistons teams in the past, our strong point were our guards, Isaiah, Dumars, Vinnie Johnson. Then you had Rip and Chauncey and Lindsey coming off the bench, Mike James. It was our guards first. You know what I'm saying? And if Jennings don't get going and Pope don't get going, you ain't running the offense through. Had KCP running off some screens and get them some easy buckets. This team is just going to continue on this path tonight.
Absolutely, Freeze, and you're really right. It's just so obvious now that Stan Van Gundy timing during the game is really, really questionable now. I'm shocked to see how late it takes him to decide to bring players back in the game. And in fact, even Jerebko, Jonas didn't get in the game until in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? It's like you just don't know what he's going to do. Some games he might play this guy a whole quarter. Next game he may not even play at all. Gigi, he played a couple games ago, and he looked good out there. He scored some points. He made some threes. He made a difference in that game, and I haven't seen him yet. Dean Whittle, he was playing good when he was in the rotation. Haven't seen him after Jennings came back. So I understand you go with your starters, but when you only win 3 games, when is it time when you have to figure out that your starters are not getting the job done? And it may be the Dean Whittles and the Gigi's and the Cartier, the players that you don't play, that might be the ones that need to play and remove some of these players like Singler. And I really get frustrated too when I see him playing and then the game get tight and he brings Smith back in the game, and then as soon as Smith get back in the game, he plays worse than the man he just took out the game. It's just too many incredible things that's happened out there to me. I'm not in love with this team at all because there's too many players that can't shoot free throws. There's too many players like Singler, who when you do need a critical 3, he misses it in the crunch time. There's too many players like Moreau and Drummond, who when you need a basket, the ball falls off their hands out of bounds or they get stripped. It's just too much negative play coming out of these players. Now, at times, they look good. The other day, Drummond scored 27 points. Moreau scored 29 points. You got nearly 60 points out of your big man, and now you can't come back the next game and make that kind of same impact? You know what I mean?
I definitely agree with you. And speaking of Moreau, man, you might as well do something and trade Monroe. I know he has a trade clause in his contract. It's no way in hell he's coming back here next season. So you might as well try to get a pick and a young player or something from him, man, because you wasting your time keeping that dude because he is not re-signing with this team. I wouldn't re-sign. We can go to a team like Boston wants him, or go to a team like San Antonio and replace Tim Duncan and never miss a beat. That's what I would do. I just think with Stan Van Gundy being the president of basketball operations, he gotta do something creative and make a trade or do something to get some energy into this team. It's getting to the point, man. I'd rather watch the Grand Rapids Drive than watch the Detroit Pistons, man. At least that games be exciting. The players can shoot. You know what I'm saying? It's more energy in the stadium. You know what I'm saying? That's sad when I'd rather watch a D League team than the professional basketball NBA team.
Yeah, you got a great point there because I watched Mitchell and I watched a center just jamming the ball through the rim like it's like like they throwing baseballs through the rim. It's true that this team that we watching today, the Detroit Pistons, they are not exciting at all. Now you mentioned earlier that look at our guards. Last year we had Siva and we had Will Bynum. Of course we were not winning a lot last year, so we kind of put the thumbs down on these guys. Like, well, we ain't winning, and they guard play is average. I'm starting to realize, comparing to this group this year, their guard play wasn't average. They were actually better than the guard play we're seeing today. It's like we got rid of the guards that I think might have been able to help us to win a few more games this year. That's how really stunned I am. It's like I watched the other night and watching the Milwaukee game. Middleton, the player that Joe Dumars shipped out of town, scored 21 points coming off the bench. Off the bench, 21 points. So this guy could have been our starting small forward.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and like I said, every we talk about it every time, man. But I just think Stan Van Gundy, you have to be a special coach, and you have to understand Detroit basketball, the coach in this town. And that guy don't understand it, man. Just by the moves he made, like Cartier Martin is cool, but I don't think that's a player we needed on this team. Augustine, a player we didn't need. Only person he picked up we needed was Meeks. You know what I'm saying? And the jury's still out on him because he hasn't played the whole season. So I can't even tell you if he's gonna be good here in Detroit. But the way this team is built, it's not built right. And the players that could help, they don't play. And it's this we go sound the same every time they play, man. Because it's until he makes some changes, you expect losses. Simple and plain.
Freeze tonight. The floor fell out from underneath their feet tonight. When you lose to the worst team in the NBA at home, and you look at the schedule, and you don't see any more winnable games all season long, not just in the next week or two. I'm talking about there's no team I can look on the schedule that we can beat.
Only way we go get a win, man, if we catch somebody on the back-to-back. That's it.
That is just shocking. Look here. The had them win right now, what did it say? Champions, 2004. That was when the Pistons had Rick Hamilton, Billups, Tayshaun Prince, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace. That was one of our best starting five group. Now, the thing is that with that group, they wasn't the greatest starting five. They had flaws. They, didn't play at an all-star level, all year long that when we watched the Pistons win that championship in 2004. But what made that team so unique, they had a lot of complementary players. They had Metal Core, they had Corlison, they had James, and they had Lindsey Hunter and Elvin Campbell. They had players that helped to make the starting five even better. If you remember, the starting five would keep the game close, usually tied, going into the first quarter. But when that second unit came out with James and Lindsey and they pressed, they end up going up by 10, 15 points. This team that we have right now, they can't get past 9 points. Even tonight, when the Pistons finally got up to 9 points, they went right back down, and Philadelphia tied the game up and eventually won this game. There is something chemistry wrong with this team. This team is flawed completely. It's just we have players that can score, but they just don't work together as a unit. Back in 2004, that was an amazing team that brought in that championship. That was the last great moment for Joe Dumars. After that, Joe Dumars made poor decisions after poor decision, and of course the latest poor decision was getting Josh Smith. Now it's funny how tonight we didn't really talk about Josh Smith, and we probably need to give him a break. But even tonight, Josh Smith had a chance to try to help us to take a good shot in crunch time, and what did he do? He launched another three, missed the whole rim, and it seemed like that just changed the whole complexion of the game around. It's just poor decision, poor decision. Even the free throw, he made one. If he'd have made both free throws, we'd have won the game because they tied the game with that three-point shot. If they wouldn't even be able to tie the game up if Josh Smith would have made both free throws. So it's just, I can go through each player on this current roster and I can name flaws that are just unspeakable. You know, Brandon Jennings tonight, his decision making, that shot he took at the last moment to try to win the game and just didn't even get it off, just got blocked. Kyle Singler, you know, he tried to shoot a three in crunch time, got blocked. Monroe tried to make a layup, got blocked. Pope tried to make 2 3-point shots in overtime, missed both of them. That could have either tied or won the game. Just everybody that was on that court tonight did not get the job done, and they need to make some changes. And I think Stan Van Gundy needs to make some changes tomorrow. He do not need to bring that starting five back out there tomorrow. He needs to put Gigi in the starting lineup. He needs to try to go ahead and maybe switch some other players around, but maybe bring Smith off the bench, put Monroe back in the game with Drummond, to do something different. But do not bring that same team out there, because if you can't beat the worst team in the league, the 76ers, with this lineup that we had in there tonight, then who are we going to beat with that same lineup? It's time to change, or it's time to change coaches.
I definitely agree with you, man. And you mentioned 2014, how, you know what I'm saying, they weren't the greatest players, but they were solid. At least you had I mean, we had Ben, who couldn't shoot free throws, but he was the only one in the starting lineup who really couldn't shoot free throws. It wasn't a whole team with shooting 60%. It was just one player. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you had players who you can count on in crunch time. You can go Tayshaun and hit a big three or drive to the lane. Rip, he coming off a screen, he go nail the shot. Chauncey hit a big three in crunch time. Rashida go in the post and step out and hit a three. We had a team full of players who stepped up in big game situations. Now we don't have any players who can step up in big games. Not even big game situations, just regular season games, man. This team ain't nowhere near close to the playoffs, man.
It's funny that you said that, Free, because more I think about it, you're right, though. Everybody in the 2004 roster had an identity. Like you said, Billups could make a three to bring you back in the game, or if it's a tied game, he'll draw a foul and make his free throws. Rip was an excellent free throw shooter, and now you look at us tonight, you know what I mean, everybody missing free throw. What we shoot about 69% as a team. They said we're one of the worst free throw teams shooters in the league. It's like everything about us is so out of sync. Like
you look at the stat tonight, man. We were 27 of 35 from the free throw line, so we shot 77%. You know what I'm saying? We missed 8 shots from the free throw line. If we would have hit a few more of them shots, we would have won the game off the free throws. You know what I'm saying? We missed some free throws down in the crunch time.
Right.
It's something's got to be done here, man. This is getting just downright depressing.
But freeze. But ask me, who do you give that ball to when it's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter? Who do you give the ball? Do you give it to Kyle Singler? Do you give it to? Do you want Pope shooting a three?
He's the only person you
want anybody shooting a three in crunch time?
He really the only person you can really rely on in crunch time, man. And the thing is, I would say Jennings in those situations, but ever since he's hurt his thumb, he's come back. Jennings was actually having a record year as far as shooting 3-point percentage, and it's just overall field goal percentage. It was both over 40%. You know what I'm saying? But since he's come back, that has just plummeted. And I just think he gets in situations where he's flat-footed trying to shoot. He's best when he starts outside the 3-point line and he makes a move and he pulls up for a three. You know what I'm saying? That's a better shot, you know, for a guy that short. When you got somebody like Michael Carter Williams on you, 6'6" point guard. So he's going to block your shot. You got to recognize them situations, man. And just that last play in regulation, man, you could have swung the ball. You had Pope or Singler who could have got a shot off. And To me, that's just bad on his part for not recognizing that situation.
Right, but Freeze, the guy we paying $54 million, shouldn't that be the guy that takes all the critical shots, make the critical plays down the crunch time? Isn't that man Josh Smith supposed to be the man that's supposed to make that hook shot, make that layup, make that short jumper? Why is he not able to get the job done? We pay that kind of money if he couldn't get that job done. You know, what's his purpose? How do you have a man that played forward like Josh Smith who is not able to make that critical shot, make that critical layup, draw that critical foul, and make both free throws? I knew we were in trouble. I knew that Smith was only going to be lucky. This guy he
I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree with you. Definitely agree with you. But I think we done talked about the Pistons long enough tonight. You know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of fed up with them. Now, I see the Detroit Lions play tomorrow. They got a big game tomorrow. We'll probably do a
true.
broadcast. We'll probably do a broadcast. Who are they playing tomorrow? I don't even know.
Well, they playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a critical game because the Buccaneers, they played Cincinnati pretty tough last week. The score was 14-13. Now, to Lions, the good thing about the Lions right now is that they have a very healthy team right now. The only person who don't look like they're going to be able to play, we know for a fact, is Nick Fairley. But it looks like Jeff Riley, the left tackle, and also Waddle, the right guard, they're going to be able to finally get back into the flow of things. They're going to be back starting, and then you're going to have your whole basic front line back. You got Reggie Bush. He's been practicing all week at full speed, so it looks like we're going to have Reggie Bush starting again. So now you got that speed man who can go all the way. You got Joyce Bell ready to play. You got Riddick, so you got your whole offense look like they ready to play, and we got our tight ends looking like they prepped and they ready. So there's no reason at all that the Lions don't come out with a full speed, fast offense ready to score touchdowns. So I'm excited for this game tomorrow because it's at the Ford Field at 1 o'clock. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the Lions play a decent game and see if they can move their record up to 9-4, Freeze.
I definitely agree with you. Definitely looking forward to it. Go ahead and check us out tomorrow. Probably a post-game commentary after the game. And we enjoyed everybody who checked us out tonight. Keep subscribing. Keep coming back, watching our channel and our broadcast. And that's us signing off. RCMG TV.
All right.
Talk to us. See you guys later.
See everybody later. Goodbye. Good night.